welcome. Before we get our meeting going, we have a couple of agenda items. False friends. A person who appreciates beauty, finds the best in others, gives the best of oneself, and leaves the world a bit better, whether by healthy children, a garden patch, or redeemed social value. A person who has played and laughed with enthusiasm and sung with exultation, who knows even one life has breathed easier because they have lived. That is success. And I think you'll find the people that have stood up today represent the definition of success. Seated at our table is our special guest, the association, that we will talk about even further. Seated next to him, the lady who has endured the most, almost 50 years, FrankBradley. Next to FrankBradley, their son, Gary, and also the person that puts up with Frank on a daily basis and helps run the show, Diane Colley. And I promised them I wouldn't ask them to stand up. Diane said, thank you very much. Frank, your friends, family, and loved ones have come here today to show you how much they care. They've come. So, Lanny Hare said he had to be first, and he'd love to get at you. So come forward. Ready? Does this work? Yeah.
It's like a windshield wiper. Can't stay out.
There goes Bradley. You know, many of you would think we would use this opportunity to make fun of Frank.
No.
And once in our life get the revenge to Frank that he so deeply deserved. But I wanted to remain somewhat respectful of the man who does deserve our respect. So I promise you there are a few things that I won't mention. For example, his age.
72.
72. It'll be 73 next week.
No, 72.
72 next week. Okay, he's the head
I'm
junkie.
not that old, Lanny. I'm not that old yet.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're old, Frank, but they did hire him as a consultant for Jurassic Park. That's good. He knew the animals on a first-name basis. Oftentimes with age, you can say it's not the model year, but the mileage and how it was treated. Well, that doesn't work with Frank either, because not only is he an older model, he's got a lot of miles and a lot of treatment that we won't discuss in his company. We certainly would not want to make fun of embarrassing moments in Frank's life. I don't know how many of you have heard the experience about when he had his term at public speaking, raising funds for a poor widow of a deceased gentleman, and while at the podium, emphatically asking people to dig into their wallets and contribute.
And shut their mouths.
And be quiet, and he lost his teeth. That's a true story. And so I think it's best to not mention that or use cheap props. I wouldn't do that.
They came out twice, right?
They came out twice. I only knew of once. And so I took them out twice. And I wouldn't resort to cheap props like that.
Hey, can I just say one thing about that? I was there.
Yes,
they got stuff in shoulder before they hit the floor.
Coming right through the
Yeah, they got to go to Smith's shoulder.
now we know what happened to Joe. He was wounded in the line of the teeth for Bradley. That explains a lot. There's other things, embarrassing moments in his life that we wouldn't want to mention. Most of you are unaware that despite his excellent standing in the community and the industry, we have before us a convicted license code violator from the Department of Insurance. Frank has to admit that he did go through a 24-hour license suspension at one point for the heinous crime of not mailing in on the deadline a blank report on his surplus lines license. And at that point in time, the department had no option but to suspend his license over a weekend. And I certainly wouldn't want to bring that up that we have someone amongst us who violated our code of ethics. There's some other embarrassing moments in our lives that I wouldn't want to bring up, such as the time he wrote an umbrella with a A5A company, a best guy, who subsequently went insolvent, and he got sued for writing coverage with a insolvent carrier. I brought his defense attorney, Ned Ranger, here today to verify that of all of the bad things Frank has done, he did in fact write umbrella with an A5A company. And luckily enough, with the help of Ned Ranger, we were successful enough to get Frank released from that.
Unfortunately, Frank lost all of his records.
Ned Ranger called me after Frank came in to visit with him and he said, well, it's been many years, but I think I've met my match. What more can you say? Of course, I would not want to resort to those cheap days and embarrass Frank. I know that that's not the point. But in the event, after all of you are finished, and you would like to make a rebuttal, I've come equipped. I know that Joe doesn't get harmed again, and I'd like to give that to you. Thank you.
I can use it.
But on a serious side, Frank is definitely one of the people who I call not a friend, but a special friend. He's been that way to the organizations, the associations. In fact, during our April 23rd board meeting, the board of directors for the State Association passed a resolution. And if you don't mind, it'll only take a moment. I'd like to read that resolution. During the 23rd day of April 1993, the board of directors of the Independent Insurance Agents and Brokers of Arizona met and resolved the following. Whereas Francis Samuel Bradley, and his name is Francis, he didn't tell me any of that, it's after the saint. That's what he wants me to believe. I thought he was a Birchburg.
Named after my grandfather.
And whereas Mr. Bradley has been recognized as a financial supporter of baseball, distilleries, insurance carriers, and most recently hospitals, and whereas it has been determined that this recipient of the IIA of Arizona Hall of Fame Award and Charles Schwab Workhorse Award has appropriately earned them, and whereas the state of Arizona's Department of Insurance has become dependent upon his financial support from surplus lines licenses, and whereas Durant's Restaurant has used his full source of income for profit for many decades, and whereas he has finally perfected a ditcher grip that really works, and whereas Frank Pasadero, his best friend, has followed him to Arizona to distribute his wealth, be it resolved, the entire board of directors, officers, and staff of the IIB of Arizona hereby request his immediate recovery and further pursuits of economic turmoil in the state of Arizona. Unanimously approved and resolved by the undersigned board of directors. Congratulations, Frank.
Thank you.
Oh, I think that's to get friends with.
Wake him up. That's a handy little weapon you got.
Yeah,
Dip it in water, you can bless
You
it.
can talk to us about it.
about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Lafayette Bar called me and asked me if I'd say a few kind words about Frank. I said, gee, you didn't give me much time to think it over. But he said, well, say anything you want. So that's what I'm going to do. I've known Frank, what is it, Frank, 25 years maybe?
At least.
One thing I wanted to mention, maybe a lot of you out there don't know about Frank, is he's a fundraiser, charitable fundraiser. 2 years ago called Bradley's Back. And I don't know if any of you attended that are out here. I'm sure there's a few that have. But I managed to make it 2 years and then bailed out. But, I tell you how that started. As you know, Frank's a great fan of baseball. And every year spring training, he would put together this bag. And it would start out at the phone booth, which is a little bar in the Bella building. It would start out with some kind of a Mickey Mouse drink, gin, silver fizz or something, some wild thing. And then after so many of those, we'd get on the buses and head to the ballpark. Never made that trip to the ballpark without stopping to get some beer. And I think they figured maybe there wasn't enough beer at the ballpark, or they might not have any. But anyway, we get to the ballpark, we enjoy the ball game, Frank, the cheerleading. And as time goes on, you really don't know who's playing, and you really don't care. But anyway, after the ball game, you think everybody go home. You know, nice day, nice outing, everybody's suntan, burned. That's not the case. No, Frank had one more thing we had to do. We had to go to some night spot and do some more celebrating. And this we did with dinner and more drinks, of course. And it was really a great time. And I want to thank Frank for that because he did raise a lot of money to do that thing, and he did it to his favorite charity. And the one thing that came out of this that I think is outstanding is the fact that over the years, Frank kept records. And he indicated, truthfully so, he wound up with 3 marriages and 5 divorces. Frank, it's been a real pleasure. We've had a lot of fun together. And,
Sure has.
hang around, we're going to do some more.
Sure has, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now you're taking notes. Let you know.
I don't want to say anything too very sick.
Exit, I'll keep crossing.
I don't need
It don't work anyway.
it. You know, the one thing that we did not do, his wife Miriam deserves the most applause for having to live with this. That's for sure. I think I was one of the first agents to meet Bradley, and Bill, and he's right. Bill, you going to talk? Okay, then I won't say anything bad about you. They opened their office at 3rd Avenue and Osborne Road, and John Henderson, God bless his heart, he's cost the train. But we went over there one day, and all they had was 2 telephones, a telephone book. That was it. And they were answering the phone in there as an insurance agent. We thought it was a boiler room operation. They did have some orange trees, that's right. But I got to tell you something about Don. Bradley says that you only have 5 friends in your life. And so one day he called me up, and he had 2. But he called me up and he said, Joe, you're my 3rd friend. I'm going to ask you if you picked out the other 2 yet. But anyway, I said, well, hell, we ought to celebrate. And they said, well, let's go down to Durant's for lunch. And so we called Don Erickson because he was a special agent for Northern Insurance Company, and he fed us more meals down at Durant's than anybody. By the way, Frank, have you finally got all 5 of them put together?
Yeah, pretty well, Charlie. Yeah, pretty well. Started place called.
Well, we have one other thing that we did. I don't know, 20 years ago, we always had a lunch down at Durant's. And so we wanted to make it an ongoing thing. And there was 4 of us. There was Bradley, myself, and John Henderson, and Al Jones. You know, poor John Henderson, he caught the train on that, as I mentioned before. And I got to looking at Bradley and Al Jones, and I said, well, we got to expand this, or I'm going to be eating by myself. So while we did it, we invited Roger and Ledger. We got Don involved. I think we're going to get some women in, too, now. I don't want to eat by myself yet.
Joe, I ain't gonna croak for a while, you know.
Did any of you guys ever hear him sing?
Got a voice like a frog.
Bless them all. Bradley, if you were able today, would you sing us a verse of Bless them all?
I'll try.
Okay.
I'm always waiting
And,
with
you
anticipation.
know, sometimes I think that Jerry and Bob,
Echo and Jekyll.
Jerry Harris and Bob Skolnick wouldn't have made it without Bradley's help.
That's right.
And those guys to death. And,
Well, I named them Echo and Jekyll.
oh, is that what Well, anyway, this guy's a character. I've had many, many laughs, and I don't think that God ever made but one of these people. And he threw the mold away because...
She said that's enough.
My wife told me to say good things. I said, God, I can't think of nothing but good.
Joe, if I last to September 11th, we'll be married 50 years.
50
Just think of living with me for 50 years. My God, I don't know how you did it, Mary.
But I've had a lot of fun with this man, and I don't know who follows me here, but Bradley, you're...
Standing, still can, on it. One is he taught me the insurance business. He and a man by the name of John Henderson somehow managed to pound a little bit of insurance in there.
This is passing the baton.
I think you might as well.
Frank, they also call me the patent Elvis, Madonna, God. What do they have in common with Bradley? One-name people. That's what this guy is. He told me, hey, Chuck, go left. This is Bradley. Hey, Pittsfield, Bradley here. You know, it was always Bradley. There's no first name. It's always Bradley. So if you become famous, I guess you become a one-name person. And I was a member of this Bradley Mafia for about 20 years. You get on that Bradley Mafia by saying, yeah, I'll help you with your golf tournament. Here's a guy who doesn't play golf. He doesn't play golf. But he ran the greatest golf tournament for the Maricopa agents for years and years. But he didn't do anything on it. He'd just get a lot of people around him, and he'd sit on the phone. And he'd call you every other day. Go at Bradley here. You know, you call your people yet? Yeah, I'll get to that, Frank. I'll get to that. I got this renewal. I'm okay. I'll call you tomorrow. And then he calls tomorrow. And he calls the next day. And eventually we get it done. We had to. We wouldn't hear the end of it. In 50 years, Marianne, I'll tell you, there's going to be a special place in heaven for you. It's guaranteed. There is. I think did you help Bobby Winkle's recruit players like maybe Floyd Bannister?
Yeah.
Phelps.
Kenny Phelps.
Kenny Phelps, I mean, he's a big name. This guy brought him in here from Seattle, I think they all came down. And we thank you for that. Some of you of A people may not, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up. But it was also, I wish I had a copy of this article in the paper I saw about 15 years ago. They interviewed this guy sitting in Encano Park. You know, he's sitting on a park bench, but he used to sit on all the time, I guess. And they're interviewing this guy, hey, I go here and sit here and think. There's the thinker. They had a picture of him sitting on the damn bench like this, thinking. You know, and he would go there when things would just start bothering him. He'd go out there, and I'd say, God damn, buddy, was that really you in the paper? And he was. Now, he quit doing that because he was such bad company. But Frank, I want to thank you. It was like really feel great that, or honored that I was asked here, and I really love you, and I thank you for being a friend.
Well, Frank, they asked me to do the last 10 years because that's I heard a lot of
Voice
stories.
of Joseph Bishop.
Looking pretty good. How you doing?
I'm not ready to croak yet, Joe. I just want to tell you.
Well, what do you say to a guy with more one-liners than the EKG machine down in Boswell Hospital?
That's good.
I mean, I got another one for you. I didn't think it was you did, but what do you say to a guy who's got more one-liners than an old graveyard full of tombstones?
Not good. Not good.
Take that one back, Joe.
I mean, I want to know who the hell is Frank P. Parker?
It's Mark P. Parker.
Oh, okay.
He's from Chincoteague, Virginia.
That's okay. And how about, you know, I have to help or admit that you really helped me out with my love life.
I did that too?
Some of those one-liners like, hey, mention my name. When you go to the bathroom, I mean, it's perfect. A steel jaw without the teeth or, you know. All right, anyhow, you're a real big influence on my life, Mike. You have to know that. Actually, it was a mentor, has been a mentor of mine for probably 14 years that we've known each other.
Started out in the People's Restaurant, Joe, remember?
Who?
Started out in the People's Restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
We were both trying to get the account.
He called me up and said, hey, little squirt, I got it from you, huh? That's right. We became friends. I got it the next year, though. You forgot what the renewal date was. Anyway, Frank, you remember that time we were up in Sedona and you were Impact chairman?
Yeah.
Roger was there. Remember that's when you were in the jacuzzi with the red pants and Anyhow, Frank was trying to raise money for APAC, and I was, I think, just appointed Young Agents Committee chairman. And, you know, since Frank had a big mouth, I tried to have him help me out. Everybody was around the pool partying, and Frank was up there trying to raise money for APAC, and in his eloquent way, he tried to get everybody's attention. It didn't work. He found, I think, as I remember, it's, hey, you silly shit, shut up. And then he called us little buddies instead of young agents. So I guess he got the point across. We did a pretty good job. The other problem, or not problem, but the other thing that he kind of taught me was how to listen to people talk so fast. You know, which I really appreciate now because I have to work with Jerry Harris. But Frank was a pretty generous guy with his time and money, and well, he bought me a couple drinks anyway. Frank used to do some charitable work. He used to read for the blind. But, you know, he only did it for about a year and couldn't figure out why until he finally called me and said, well, we really appreciate Mr. Bradley's service, but he talks so damn fast and makes poor people deaf. And you know, I also wish I had invested some more money in Oscar Mayer because Frank was a real big baseball fan. And for 10 months of the year, he'd be on his diet. In 2 months when spring training came in, he went out to the football or baseball games, and I swore he had another wardrobe because he used to gain about 20 pounds and he ate every hot dog. But in all honesty, Frank, you've been a real good friend of all of ours. We really appreciate all the help that you've given each and every one of us and kind of taken me under your wing. I do need to know, though, when you do retire, who are you going to assign the Shasta account?
Thank you. Thank you. Frank's son, Gary, flew in just for this occasion, and Gary said he would like to say a word or two. So, Gary, if you would, please.
Literally just a word or two, just to sort of, this is the wrap up here. You've painted a really wonderful portrait of my dad that reminds me of a portrait that a very literal painter painted for the Duchess of Edinburgh, who wanted someone to paint her portrait just accurately, not just an impressionistic sort of thing. She wanted an accurate portrait. So when the painting was finished, she looked at the thing and said, "Mr. Painter, that painting does not do me justice." And he says to her, "Lady, you don't need justice, you need mercy." I just want to add one stroke to the portrait, and that's a story that lives in my family with my 4 brothers and my sister. We recall this story whenever we finally get a chance to get together, and I have to pull the chair out to do it. This was when we moved into a house, after we had moved into a house about a couple months later, the desert yard had been put in. You know what I'm talking about. The desert yard had been put in, and my dad was out there after it was all finished, and didn't have to mow that lawn anymore. The mowing was all finished, because the desert yard was in the front. This was before desert yards were real popular. And so we were the only one on the block that had it. And we had a ranch fence around the yard, and in the corner of the fence, my dad put his leg up and went, which I can't do loud enough. That's where that squeak sound goes. You probably all heard it. Look down the lawn. This is Saturday morning. People are out there working. It's hot. It's mowing their lawn. He says, "Look at them slobs out there mowing their lawn." So why don't y'all keep mowing your lawn?
Frank, you're special to everyone here, and people that you've been associated with for so many years. And I want to thank you personally for what you've done for me. And since you weren't at our officer installation in October, I'd like to re-quote a poem that I think is very indicative of you and your service. An old man going on a lone highway came at the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm, vast and deep and wide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream held no fear for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you're wasting your time with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. why build this bridge at evening tide? The old man lifted his tired gray head. Good friend, in the path I have tread, there followed after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been but not to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building that bridge for him. The board of directors, staff, members of the Greater Phoenix Association of Independent Agents honor Frank S. Bradley for his more than 36 years of dedicated service, guidance, and determination, which will be forever remembered. Frank Bradley.
Thank you very much. This is overwhelming. I wish I had a little more breath to give to you, but got a little problem with emphysema. It took a rock out of my bladder and didn't get it all. You heard those famous words from the doctor because it didn't knock me out. I got to go in again. It's always a thrill. So she came to visit me. In my room, she said, "Do you know?" I said, yeah, I know. They're going in again. Well, the second time they knocked me out. I quit smoking 26 years ago. This stuff came out of my lungs. I wound up with emphysema. But I've had 70 years of good health. And this year I'm starting my 48th year in the insurance business. And on September 11th, this young lady and I will be married 50 years. I married the girl next door. And I'm very happy with what I've done. It's a great industry. It's got a lot of jerks in it, a lot more than we had in our day. But overall, it's great. It really is. I met a lot of nice people. And I tried to give back what I took. I took a lot, and I tried to give back a lot. I got kicked out of high school about 40 times in 4 years, and my dad chased me into service. You see, if you ever get over people, surround yourself with intelligent people, treat them decently, and pay them adequately. And you people have all contributed. You can see that by being here. But there's so many out there that don't contribute. Get a hold of them and make them join you. Thank you very much.
Cost. So not only do we have to understand our people, but we have to understand what is the best use of our capital. And thirdly, and very important, is we have to be aware and understanding and familiar with technology. Because really technology is another means by which of creating value. And if we don't use technology and somebody else does, we lose. Technology is not an enemy. Technology is a resource that we as a company have to take advantage of. And the competitor that best takes advantage of technology, best uses its capital, and best leverages the skills of the people are ultimately going to win the game. So really, that's what the mission statement's all about. It's a statement of our values and our culture. It's a statement of our commitment to innovation and quality of product and service, recognizes our obligations to our share owners, understand that we have to create a high-performance environment and live up to the expectations of the social contract. It means that we are very defined in terms of what markets we're going to get into, that we understand what it takes to win, that it's worth winning, and that we'll win it. And how we win it is one of being very market-focused, customer-driven, very highly focused on what we're trying to deliver in terms of value to the customer. And it's that value to the customer that will allow us to distinguish ourselves from our competition and allow us to win. And lastly, we always have to be cognizant of how to best leverage the great skills of our people, to use our capital most wisely, and be opening up and understanding of and accepting of technology as a key lever for profitability and competitiveness. You know, as we just kind of quickly review the vision situation, we really, I think, have the financial foundation in place. And we're now creating this culture and this environment that's oriented towards high performance. That we really understand that we have to be very discerning in the markets that we play in terms of their attractiveness and our ability to win that game, secure that leadership position, be very focused on what we do. We must understand that the value we create in terms of the product and services we offer is a function of focusing on our markets, understanding our partner relationship with our agents, and looking at the insured as a customer in which we can identify their market needs and develop products that best satisfy those needs. And ultimately, to better understand the fact that we must constantly seek ways to leverage the skills of our people, to take advantage of technology, and be very wise in terms of how we use our capital so that it's used most efficiently and allow us to win. So in the final analysis, we've got an exciting future ahead of us. And I'm very proud to be working with you to build this vision together so that we ultimately can say to all concerned, watch us win. Now what I'd like to do, if you have this understanding of a backdrop, I want to share with you my perspective as to what we're doing in personal lines, what we're doing in workers' comp, and the exciting new strategy we have in our life company. And then after that, I'll give you some other things on the horizon that maybe next quarter we'll talk about as, again, a fulfillment of building our vision. In terms of where we compete, we made some tough calls. We're certainly now leveraging the value of our people, because we're now having worked together as a team. The people from claims, the people from underwriting, agency management, loss control, all sharply focused on the needs of our customers with the support of our agents. Beyond that, we're starting to look at other things in terms of technology and in terms of automated underwriting in the sense of underwriting screens, the like that we can use to better manage the information that we need to have superior underwriting in terms of what we're doing in workers' comp. So you see, everything starts to fit. And now let's go on to the next one, and that being the life company. Before I talk about the precepts of strategy and how it applies to the life company, I want to share with you a little bit of perspective as to how I viewed the life company and where it stood, and why I believe the new strategy that's being undertaken really is a win strategy for all of us. First of all, the life company is predominantly, as you know, a single premium deferred annuity product company, and its primary source of distribution has been in terms of our dealer broker business. And that's a valuable distribution source for us, but it also, we have experienced, as we did last year, a high lapse rate or surrenders associated with the churn in that portfolio, which means that we needed to have a little bit more balance. Not that we don't want to do business in the dealer broker business, but we'd like to have some action elsewhere so that we'd have a little more balance. The other distribution force that we had in the life company was through our very valuable and loyal P&C agents. But when we looked at that situation, we had a very costly support mechanism in terms of our branch office network and support of our agents. And when we looked at that situation, because of the excessive costs we're incurring, and very frankly, not delivering necessarily the best value, we were really compromising our ability to competitively price products that our P&C agents could sell. Because of the high cost structure of how we supported our P&C agents, disallowed ourselves the opportunity of pricing competitively. So in summary then, we had really two broad issues. One, we had a narrowness in terms of being predominantly a single product business through predominantly a major single source distribution, dealer brokers. And where the other action was in terms of our P&C agency force, we had a very excessively costly support capability there. So we had to step back, and we had to accomplish two things. We had to bring balance back to our balance sheet. That means new markets and new products. And we had to find a way to be much more competitive in providing a more competitively priced product for our partners, our agents, to sell than they had currently. So how do you do that? Well, there's two things we did. first of all, thanks to Gary Praisner and a lot of his hard work, along with Ehor and the senior management team, they've come up with an exciting strategy. Fundamentally, they've identified 2 new markets that we really want to focus on, and we think we can develop some real capability in winning in those markets. Namely, that it's a TSA, which is tax-sensitive annuity product, and the bank annuity product to complement this SPDA product that we've been selling primarily through dealer brokers. The other part of the equation then, not only bringing in new markets and more balance, was the issue in terms of how can we deliver a superior priced product that our partners or agent can effectively sell and service with us. And fundamentally, that required us to rethink how we were supporting our P&C agency force. And what we've elected to do is withdraw that support capability, take out that cost, and replace it with a whole new way of servicing our partners and supporting them and delivering a vastly superior product in terms of pricing and, frankly, more attractive commissions for our agents. We just took cost out of our system and took that cost and allowed us then to price more competitively and also provide higher commissions for our agents. But not only that, we've actually been able to put in place a far superior support capability than we ever had before. I know, it sounds too good to be true, but let's go through it and see how it works. We have a quality team of people that are now backstopping and supporting our quality agents, our business partners. So the net equation is we've essentially transformed our company, becoming more wholesale-oriented in terms of the TSA market and the bank annuity market, while strengthening the existing businesses we're in, relative to primarily strengthening our partnership relationship with our agents through more competitive product and more compensation for our partners. I think it's a win strategy. I'm absolutely convinced that we have the leadership in place. I know it's tough to have a major change like life go through, but it's very necessary for us to be a success as a company. And I'm really excited about what the future will hold for us under this new strategy. You know, a little bit previously in our discussions, I made mention of the fact that there were other things underway that I'm kind of excited about talking about. And we'll do that at the next quarterly report. But just to give you a hint, in commercial lines area, we're going to establish more product businesses. One for property, one for commercial auto, another one for liability. And bring in the product champions or appoint people internally as the product champions to really drive those segments of our business so we can develop technical leadership in those areas. And beyond that, from a marketing perspective, in terms of field operations, we're really now looking at the low end, the small business market, as well as the middle market. In the small business market, we understand we have to become much more cost efficient and much more price competitive and much better from a service standpoint. And we now have something underway in Denver which really puts us in the game relative to doing business and winning against our competitors with a vastly improved support capability, service response time, and all the necessary technological advantages we need to deliver service, as well as a complete rationalization of our cost structure that allows us to price more competitively than we ever have before. And beyond that, in terms of the middle market, we're really trying to learn how we can deliver value to our customers from a market segmentation standpoint so that we can start differentiating ourselves by having superior value in terms of the product and service we offer. So we have a real task force working day and night in terms of developing market segments which will allow us to develop and deliver unique product that we can then arm our partners with, our agents, to really make a difference in the marketplace. So there's a lot of exciting things underway. And lastly, I'd like to kind of remind you as to about what we're all about in terms of this mission statement. And let me just sum up very quickly. You know, we went back to that product life cycle for a moment. I just want to expound a little bit on that last point in terms beyond building the vision, what's ahead of us in the years ahead. So let's go back a moment and reflect on where we started our conversation about this rebuilding of our company. You know, we really have fixed the foundation for our future, and we've reviewed the steps, and we're now experiencing the results from our endeavors in terms of improved profit performance in the second quarter of this year as well as the first quarter, and we've really got some momentum. We're now at this next vital stage in the growth and development of our company. We have this vision we share together, and we're now going forward in terms of the strategies that we're employing and the principles that we're practicing. And we're developing a culture that gives a sense of fairness and respect, a sense of belonging to our people, a sense of purpose, something that we all can relate to and be proud of. And really in the next stage, something beyond now, but something you should always understand as to what we can be, is that once we start securing these market positions of leadership, we can then build on them. And really that's the next step for us beyond where we are today. Once we've secured some of these leadership positions, to leverage that position of strength, to take advantage of the uniqueness that we have, that competitiveness that we have, and allow us to move on to something else. And really, we can consider many things. We can buy companies that are adjuncts or extensions of what we do well. We can start sponsoring some ventures to develop new businesses from scratch, just like F&G Re. So there's a lot of opportunity ahead of us, a lot of opportunity for all of us to become part of the action and to build something we can be proud of. You know, as we just kind of quickly review the vision situation, we really, I think, have the financial foundation in place. And we're now creating this culture and this environment that's oriented towards high performance, that we really understand that we have to be very discerning in the markets that we play in terms of their attractiveness and our ability to win that game, secure that leadership position, be very focused on what we do. We must understand that the value we create in terms of the product and services we offer is a function of focusing on our markets, understanding our partner relationship with our agents, and looking at the insured as a customer in which we can identify their market needs and develop products that best satisfy those needs. And ultimately, to better understand the fact that we must constantly seek ways to leverage the skills of our people, to take advantage of technology, and be very wise in terms of how we use our capital so that it's used most efficiently and allow us to win. So in the final analysis, we've got an exciting future ahead of us. And I'm very proud to be working with you to build this vision together so that we ultimately can say to all concerned, watch us win.